Delay. So after many days, so we're going to start our Lamrim class based on the chapters with the wisdom chapter. Also, before I went to India, I asked you to do some homework. Do you remember the homework? Huh? Yes, I can understand because to having busy life, living in Singapore, not easy to complete the homework. So anyway, so happy to see you, all of you, again for the Lamrim class. So as usual, so we all together in TBC because all of us very free. We don't have anything to do, therefore we gather here, not. So all of you, come from different place to attend the Lamrim class. Also when you come to the Lamrim class, make sure, you have the right motivation, you have a right understanding why you wanted to attend Lamrim class, why you are here. Most of us have been receiving a lot of teachings, teaching about Four Noble Truths, teaching about interdependence, teaching about emptiness, or teaching about the Vajrayana, particularly higher Tantrayana. So we are very fortunate to have this kind of great opportunities. This is not just enough to receive all the teachings, all the instruction. Receiving teaching, receiving instruction is very easy. You just sit somewhere and you listen, you receive the teaching, number one. After you receive the teaching, it's not easy to understand, not easy to digest all the meaning of the teaching. Yes, some of you, are quite intelligent. Yes, you can listen the teaching, you can digest the teaching, the meaning. But when you fully digest, it's not easy to apply the teaching based on our daily life. The most important for us is not just listening the teaching, not just only digest the teaching. We must apply all the teaching received from different masters, receive instruction through YouTube, audio, whatever. It is so important to apply the teaching based on your daily life. So when you come to like Tibetan Buddhist Center, when you attend the teaching, you attend the teaching with a high expectation, which is very good. You think, I'm going to go to TBC to study, to study or to learn Dharma, which is very good. When you come, I know you come with a good motivation, with a high expectation. So when you left this class, when you left with a lot of disappointment, it is no good. You feel, very disappointment. Maybe you don't understand anything, or maybe I don't know how to teach. There must be some reason. You must know why you have, kind of disappointment after the class. Then Also, after you attend that class, definitely, compare with, 2 years ago, compare with last year, compare with like few months ago. If you compare the improvement in your daily life, improvement based on the like attend the TBC class, yes, you can see some kind of benefit you receive from TBC, and then the teaching from Geshe Lobsang Yonten, teaching from Venerable Geshe Lobsang, teaching from Luchen Farsi, right? Luchen Farsi, or teaching from Venerable Thupten Song, teaching from His Holiness Kunduli Rinpoche. That means somehow, you can have a better understanding, you can have a less confusion, you can have a, more inspiration to study, to practice Dharma. I can see. But unfortunately, I cannot see much, improvement in our practice, include me. For us, most important, we must need improvement in our practice. How we can have an improvement in our practice? For us, our human mind is very kind of sensitive compared with other sentient beings. For example, I think most of you used to have the pet dog, right? Or cats. So when you give some food, you can see the dog, the cats are very happy. When you don't give food, you can see they are a bit unhappy. They are not really unhappy. But human being, is very easy to be very happy, very easy to be unhappy. Because our human mind is very, fragile, is very kind of sensitive. Therefore, when somebody, make you uncomfortable with your workplace, in your house, somewhere, certainly you feel, you feel upset, you feel angry, you feel disappointment. Yes, that time when you get angry, upset, very uncomfortable with someone, this is the most crucial, most important time to apply Dharma. If you're not able to apply, not able to practice Dharma that moment, that means you're not really practicing Dharma. Right? For example, when you get sick, you have a bunch of medicine, Western medicine from TCM or medicine from Tibetan doctor. You have all kinds of medicine. When you go sick, you're not really trying to eat the medicine. Then why you keep all the medicine in your house? You just throw away, clean your room. Therefore, whenever you have a very kind of very unpleasant environment or unpleasant mind, that is the right time, the best time to apply Dharma. Therefore, please, whenever you have difficulties, remember the Dharma. When you feel, bit proud about your name, your position, your belonging, someday you feel very proud about your children, your friends, your family. When you feel very proud, also you should not be, too proud. You also must know it can be changed anytime. Also apply, Dharma. When you feel very unhappy due to losing your dear one, dear friends, or dear brother, or dear parents, or dear whoever, when you lose someone, you feel very unhappy. You feel very big loss. Also, that time you must apply, impermanence. Life is impermanence. All conditioned phenomena are impermanence. Also, when you feel very angry with your friends, with your family, with your neighbors, when you feel angry, you yourself. Also, this is the right, the best time to apply Dharma, mainly apply, compassion, tolerance, and love. If you fail to apply the Dharma, those moments, then when we really going to practice Dharma, when everything is okay, the food is very nice, the environment is very nice, who live around you, they are very nice, then we don't need Dharma anymore, right? No need. So, please, listen the teaching seriously, try to understand seriously, not only listening and understanding. Please, very try to be very serious about practicing Dharma all the time. Also, sometimes we have a bad habit, bad habituation, bad tendency. We thought, oh, I don't think I can practice Dharma this life because I'm so busy, I'm so lazy, I'm so kind of incapable. Many people say that, right? I cannot practice this life, but still I will attend the Dharma class, I will study Dharma, I will open the book because you think in the next life you can have a bit easy to understand, to practice Dharma. One hand you can think this is good. On another hand, it make you very lazy. Right? You say, I cannot do today, but I will do tomorrow. You just excuse yourself. We should not think this way. You should think life is impermanent. I can be died. I can be passed away any time. After I pass away, there's no guarantee, I can take a rebirth again in human life. Why not? I just practice Dharma right now, today. So therefore, I can see everybody has a good improvement in listening, teaching, studying, teaching, understanding of Dharma, but not much improvement in our practice. So since today, also we have a discussion, I can try to explain the Dharma. At the same time, we must do, something for meditation. So right now we are studying about emptiness related to the wisdom chapter. So we must know the point, the important why we need to study the wisdom chapter, right? Because do you remember when we have a teaching from His Holiness Kunduli Rinpoche, he said to us, the wisdom is very important. When you realize, the cup, this is, for example, this is a cup. When you realize this is a cup, then you will realize it is very useful to, when you feel thirsty, it's so useful to contain the water. If you don't realize this thing is cup, when you feel so thirsty, you're looking at a container, because you don't realize, the thing is a cup. It's very useful to realize the thing that is wisdom. Then we must, so today, usually I explain a few times from beginning to end the Lamrim practice. Right, Lamrim practice. We have so before we start this thing, generally we have two types of Buddhist people. Two types, let's say Sangha and layperson. Sangha, layperson. As a Sangha, as a full audience, as a Sangha, they have more, mostly time for study, practice Dharma. Right? As a layperson, yes, you have a time for studying, practice Dharma, but you have a more time, you have a more responsibility to take care of your family, your things. There's always two group of, Buddhist. So, as a layperson, I'm not going to say you don't need to study Dharma. Definitely, as a layperson, we need to study. We must study Dharma. Without studying, you don't understand how to practice. But you must know what kind of Dharma you must study, what kind of practice you must follow. As a Sangha, Because you, as a lay person, you have a responsibility, look after your family. Am I right? But nowadays, many lay people, I don't think they have a really responsibility to look after their family. They have more responsibility to look after themselves. As a sangha, as a monk and nuns, they have a responsibility to study, to practice, to flourish the Dharma. That's why they have to study so many different types of teaching, different hundred of thousand types of initiation, empowerment, so many things. Those teaching, they attend all this teaching, they try to receive all the teaching. There's two reasons. One, want to practice. One's mainly to preserve the lineage, the instruction. The lay person, you don't have, this kind of responsibility. That means, as a lay person, you are seriously ill. Also as a sangha, they also seriously ill. But as a lay person, they're seriously ill, then take a medicine, eat the medicine, mainly cure your sickness. Clear? But as a sangha, also they are seriously ill, and they take the medicine in order to overcome, in order to cure the disease or sickness. At the same time, they want to preserve the medicine to benefit others. So you are not include that group. So therefore, you no need to attend, so many different teachings. Because some of you feel, a bit regret. You regret or maybe feel very difficult to do your daily sadhana. You attend teaching, that there's a lot of commitment, have to do every day. Then at the end you feel, I cannot do. Right? Therefore, so the lay person include the Buddhists who mainly study, mainly practice. You don't have a responsibility to preserve all the lineage. First. Second, let's say, how I can practice Dharma. Many people say, I really want to practice Dharma. I want to do meditation, but I don't know how to do meditation. Many people say, I don't know how to practice Dharma. This is a very common question. Am I right? Very common question. All of you, you are not the person who asking this question, I don't know how to practice Dharma. You know how to practice Dharma. But there's a very, certain orders, very systematic way you have to practice Dharma. Right? That means, what is our achievement as a Buddhist? What is your achievement? What you really try to, achieve? What are you trying to achieve? Achieve what? Happiness? What? So let's say you are here, I'm facing towards you, you're facing towards us. What we are doing here? We are studying Lamrim. What is your goal? What is your achievement to study Lamrim? What? Huh? Overcome suffering. Yes, you can say, I want to practice, I want to study Lamrim in order to overcome sufferings. Or you can say, I practice Lamrim in order to, become a Buddha. You can say, I want to study, I'm studying Lamrim in order to generate bodhicitta. There will be so many answers. Right? But the number one, what is the basic thing you must practice? What is the foundation of the Lamrim? Then, after you have a foundation, then you go into intermediate. Then you go to do what? Intermediate, then? Advanced, right? Advanced level. As a beginner, what you need to know? You need to know, first, as a beginner, you need a foundation. What is the best important foundation the people who wish to practice Lamrim? What is the most important foundation? What is the most important foundation for you to practice Dharma, practice Lamrim? Foundation. Take refuge, then Then, okay, taking refuge is a common practice, right? As a Buddhist, you need to take a refuge. Doesn't matter the practitioner is small, being, small capacity being, a great capacity being, or medium capacity being. Both, everybody has to take a refuge. Right, refuge. What does mean taking refuge? Does mean, you feel so scared. You feel very insecure. When you feel very, insecure, when you feel very worry, suddenly you are looking a protection. You are looking a refuge. Right? That means what kind of, fear do we have? Dying? Yes, dying. After dying, where we go? Mainly we are, fear about samsara. Right? Samsara. Sense of fear of samsara. When you have a sense of fear, then suddenly you will look, you will try to search a perfect guide, perfect refuge. That means at the beginning, you must have a pure refuge. Refuge into Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, plus Guru. The Guru include into where? Into Buddha. That's why you can say, according to Theravada tradition, or generally people say, I take refuge into Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Clear? Then, as a Mahayan practitioner who follow the Mahayan tradition, what we say, how we take refuge? I take refuge into Guru, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. For example, Guru Yoga, right? So Namo Guru Be, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo means I prostrate. I prostrate to Buddha, Guru, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Right? This is taking refuge. It's very important. In order to have a pure, refuge, in order to have a very serious belief into Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, definitely you must need a sense of fear about samsara, sense of fear about death, sense of fear about all the negative thoughts. After you fully has taken refuge, then what you need to practice? Renunciation, right? Renunciation. That means you have a sense of fear. The sense of fear must be very serious. Serious. Sense of fear about in samsara. Samsara. When you have a very sense of fear about samsara, when you have a sense of disgust, right, about samsara, then you wish to free from samsara. I wish to free from suffering, right? I wish to free from all kinds of problems. Then, when you have this kind of mind, I'm not happy today, I wasn't happy yesterday, I wasn't happy last year, I won't be happy tomorrow because I'm in samsara. I'm in samsara. Do you remember the analogy? Analogy in the Lamrim? The northern boy eating turnips, very good. Only Sonam remember. Turnips, right? Look at. So, for example, if I ask you, since today until you pass away, every day you eat laksa, will you be happy? No. Since today always you eat samba, will you be happy? No. Yes, okay, at the beginning, first you try to eat, you're okay. Second day, okay. Third day, okay. 1 week, okay. Then somebody, when you feel hungry, you are looking at food, right? If somebody offer you samba, you don't want. You don't want. Whoever offer you samba, you don't want. If you fully discuss, right? Discussing with the Champa. So therefore, like a renunciation means whatever you think about in samsara, samsaric pleasant, samsaric, the environment, you need this kind of, sensation, the renunciation. What was the problem? If you don't really have a, like a refuge, if you're not able to take refuge into Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, what is the problem will be? What? If you don't have a strong, pure, taking refuge to the Buddha, that means you wish to free from suffering, but you don't know how to free from suffering. For example, you realize you are very seriously ill. If you don't seek refuge to the doctor, then you cannot be free from sickness. Right? That's means Buddha is very important as a doctor. Then yes, all of us very happy to, pray to Buddha, respect to Buddha, making offering to Buddha. But what's wrong? What's the problem if we don't take refuge into Dharma? Then what's the problem if you don't take refuge into Dharma? Missing the medicine. Missing the medicine. Yes, you realize you have a serious illness. Also, you fully trust the doctor as Buddha as a doctor. But if you are not taking medicine, then you cannot. There's no way cure the sickness. Even the doctor is good, very famous, perfect doctor, no medicine cannot cure. That means you have to take refuge into Dharma. Then yes, why we need to take refuge into Sangha? Because yes, Buddha is there. You can fully understand what does mean Buddha. Also, you fully understood, Dharma is very important. You take refuge in Buddha, Dharma. Why in Sangha is so important? Why? Yeah, Sangha teach the Dharma. Now you can say, Sangha has, this means, let's say, two types. One Sangha who, really, giver, who can teach you. Right? So, for example, we have so many master and teacher and Sangha who teach Dharma. All of them not, include into Sangha, which is we take refuge into Sangha. Right? Sangha means here what? The person, the practitioner who accomplish the cessation, one kind of cessation and part two cessation. Sangha. That means Sangha is look like nurse, doctor, medicine, nurse. Right? That means the doctor not always with you in hospital. Therefore, the nurse always around you. You can ask help from the nurse. Therefore, in order to free from suffering, in order to free from cause of suffering, we need to rely on Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Right? Sangha. So yes, you have a very strong, pure, faith into Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. If you don't have renunciation, then what's the problem? What's the problem if you don't have a renunciation? Then, look at, until now, all our practice, practice about taking refuge, practice about, making prostration, offering mandala, recitation, chanting, most of the practice, what we have been doing until today, most of it goes to samsaric thing. Samsaric thing. For example, you want to make an offer because want to accumulate merit. After merit, you can have a lot of good things. Right? most our practice is contaminated by sense of attachment. Attachment about this life, next life, after next life. Right? For example, when you offer light, how many light here? 1, 2, 3, almost 20 light, already light here. Whoever offer the light, some of you may think, oh, I'm going to lead the light in order to free from sickness, in order to have some, kind of stable job, in order to have a healthy life, in order to have a happy life for my friends, my relatives, right? If you have this kind of motivation, then leading light can be only cause for the samsaric thing. It never be cause to achieve Buddhahood. It never be cause to achieve cessation. Right? Cessation. Because it's contaminated, influenced by attachment. Clear? Then, okay, somebody lead the light. Oh, I'm going to lead the light to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha in order to become Buddha, in order to generate bodhicitta, in order to realize emptiness. There's, the merit which is accumulated through this kind of motivation can be cause to achieve Buddhahood, can be cause to achieve realized emptiness. That means, renunciation is so important. Without renunciation, all our practice, influenced or contaminated by attachment, desire, right? Also in Tibetan society, it's very common. Somebody lead the light because they have an enemy. They cannot fight with the enemy. The enemy are so strong. Then what they do? Lead a light to the Buddha. They pray to Buddha. Wish the person will die, right? Yeah, it's very common. Even though in Singapore, you are not really happy with someone, you go temple, make a donation, lit a light, lit one incense, or pray to the person wish to die. Are you sure? 100% sure? Okay, if you have a very strong enemy, what will you do? If you cannot, he's so strong. Yeah, the enemy is so strong, they will take your property, they will take your car, they will take your bank account, then what will you do? What kind of things you will find?
Accept that is your karma. You have to
Yeah. Yeah, that's mean, look at, this is very common, also when you are sick, also we lead a light in order to free from the sickness, right? Also, this kind of also cause to the samsaric thing. That's why what you remember, without taking refuge Buddha and Dharma, Sangha, you cannot be Buddhist. Taking refuge is the intense of the Buddhist, right? Then renunciation. Without renunciation, all your practice all your practice can be cause for the samsaric things, right? So without renunciation, your practice cannot be the pure dharma practice. It cannot be pure dharma practice. Renunciation. Then another important, after you fully believe in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, you have a sense of renunciation. The next, what you need to practice? Bodhicitta. Bodhicitta, right? Bodhicitta. What is the most important cause to generate bodhicitta? What is the most important cause to practice bodhicitta? Very good. Great compassion. Not just compassion, right? Just compassion. Great compassion. Great compassion. Do you remember in Lamrim said, Mahayana practice are rooted by compassion. compassion. Without compassion, you should not think I can practice Mahayana path. You should not think I can practice Bodhicitta. You should not think I can be Mahayana practitioner. Therefore, great compassion is the root of Bodhicitta. Without great compassion, you cannot practice Bodhicitta. Clear? Great compassion, very important, great compassion. What is the differences between compassion and great compassion? Great compassion. Yeah, even though you have a partial, compassion, it can be benefit. All sentient being, right? Yes, great compassion benefit all sentient being. Here, very important is not just saying is very important. You must remember, I have been practicing Lamrim. Lamrim is part of the Mahayana practice. Without compassion, you cannot practice Lamrim. Right? Great compassion. Generally simple, you can say great compassion is unbiased. Unbiased. Compassion, other compassion always bias. What's the wrong if you have a biased compassion? Your compassion is very biased. What's the problem? What's the problem? Let's say, you have a compassion to your relatives. You have a compassion towards your friend. You have a compassion for your neighbors, but you don't have a compassion towards all sentient beings. Then, what's the problem? Grasping, attachment. Look at. Now you know the the important things. Do you remember I said 100 times, more than 100 times? All the practices look like medicine. Clear? What did I say? All medicines are, all practices look like medicine. Right? Why we need so many types of medicine from different company? Why? Different illness. Why we need all different kinds of practice from different company? Indian company, Tibetan company, Chinese company, Thai company, Sri Lankan company, right? Actually, we should not say that way. I told you many times. Tibetan Buddhism, Thai Buddhism, Chinese. No, we should say Buddhism in Tibetan language, Buddhism in Chinese language, Buddhism in Thai language. It's better to say this way. Therefore, all the Dharma practice look like medicine. We need so many types of medicine because we have so many types of illness, sickness. One medicine cannot be cure all kinds of medicine. But one medicine can reduce all sickness, right? Which medicine can reduce all sickness? Painkiller, right? When you take painkiller, it reduces. We have headache, take painkiller. Just painkiller, it reduces, but it cannot cure, right? That means different sickness has a different medicine. Clear? Okay, that means you have a headache, right? Then some, due to misunderstanding, due to ignorance, due to in hurry, you took the stomach ache medicine. What will happen then? It cannot cure your headache because you took the wrong medicine. This is our problem. We have been taking wrong medicine, right? Wrong medicine. For example, you feel I'm not happy this morning. You felt I wasn't happy yesterday. Then what do you do? Okay, suddenly you do chanting, recitation, prostration. Or you pray to Buddha, you pray to, medicine Buddha. You just pray. That means you are taking the wrong medicine. I'm not saying, recitation, chanting, prostration, making offering, pray to all the Buddhas. Not wrong, but you are taking the wrong medicine. Right? That stomach medicine is not the wrong medicine. But when you have a headache, you must take what? The headache medicine. Right? Therefore, when you get angry with someone, you should not just chant. You should not just only pray. You must practice compassion. Compassion. Look, in our life, many problems we have. Some are not happy with your family. Some are not happy with your neighbors. You are not happy with a co-worker. You are not happy with your classmate because you don't have enough compassion. You don't have a pure compassion. Clear? Compassion. Very important. So without compassion, you should not think, I can practice Mahayana path, I can practice Lamrim, I can be Mahayana practitioner. You just saying verbally, you cannot be. Therefore, practice compassion. There's two types, two kinds of true love. One is a bias, one is very unbiased. So if you have a biased compassion, you cannot be happy all the time. Right? For example, I have a very good compassion with my friends, my neighbors, my relatives. But I don't have a compassion, the person I really don't like. Then I cannot be happy. Right? So in order to have the lasting happiness, you must have a compassion. If you have an unbiased compassion is a serious compassion, not just saying. If you have a really pure or serious compassion towards all human beings, I don't think non-human being make you very unhappy. Are you very unhappy with a non-human being, like other sentient being? You're okay with the mosquito, right? You're okay with the ants. You're okay with the snake. But you're not okay with the human being. Right? Right?
Not happy with the mouse.
Mouse, who? Are you not happy with the mouse? Okay. Look at, most time we have problem with the human being, not everybody. Certain people, which is you really, really don't like, you really, really hate. Therefore, if you have an unbiased compassion, all angry has gone. No more angry. Right? You cannot be you cannot be angry person. You no more anger. Right? That means all angers look like boiling water. You can see boiling water, right? Your face is very red. You are not happy. Your face become red. Unhappy thing is the result of the anger. When you boil water, why the water is so boiling? Because underneath there's a fire, or wood fire or gas fire, electric, right? It's so hot, the pot become hot, then water is boiling. That means you have argument, you are fighting, you are making a lot of rumors because you are not happy, because under there's a anger. Then if you add cold water in the pot, in the boiling going to be reduced. How long? Water is boiling continuously. If you add cold water, what will happen? The water become very calm. Right? Cannot see the boiling. How long you can be calm? Little while. Because you forget. Turn off the gas. Turn off the electricity. You forget to, no more adding the woods. You continue adding the woods. You wish to, calm the water, calm. You cannot. Right? That's why, if you wish to be happy with your neighbors, your relatives, your friends, your classmates, you should not think just wish to be happy. Just try to reduce the anger. Slowly turn down the control. Then you can able to develop compassion. That means, if you have a complete, pure, unbiased compassion, then what happens? No more anger. No more anger, right? This makes compassion so important. If you say, I am Mahayana practitioner, if you are not able to practice compassion, you are not really Mahayana practitioner. Compassion. If you have a pure compassion, unbiased compassion, then bodhicitta is very close. Very close, bodhicitta. Clear? Bodhicitta. Now let's say you have a very pure, mind, thoughts taking refuge to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. You have a pure, serious renunciation. You have a great compassion. You are ready to generate bodhicitta. Bodhicitta, right? So what does mean bodhicitta? If I say, okay, everybody, generate bodhicitta, how you generate bodhicitta? How you cultivate bodhicitta? How do you cultivate bodhicitta? How? Huh? How? Let's say everybody, generate bodhicitta. How? In your mind, right? How? Huh? This is a kind of great compassion, right? If I say, please generate bodhicitta, suddenly wish to be Buddha, right? Wish to become a Buddha, to benefit all sentient beings. That's your mind just focus towards becoming Buddha. Becoming Buddha for what reason? For what? To benefit all sentient, not benefit yourself, not benefit only few people, benefit all sentient beings, right? Bodhicitta. That means after you have a great compassion, you wish all sentient beings be happy. How you can make all in all sentient beings be happy? How? Huh? How? Of course, all of you became my enemy. Yeah, if I give you food, you are for happy for few days. If I give you clothes, you can be happy for few days. If I give you whatever you need, you can be happy for until you pass away. Right? But I cannot make you happy forever. I cannot give you ultimate happiness. Can I? Cannot. Then how I can give you, how I can give you ultimate happiness? How? Give the Dharma. For example, let's say, according to the history, at the Buddha Shakyamuni lifetime, there were so many, human beings, or, God, they became a Buddha. Mainly, listen the Buddha teaching, practice the Dharma. Slowly, they fully become enlightened being, fully become a Buddha. Then they achieve the ultimate and lasting happiness. Therefore, look at why wish to be Buddha? Why not we just only wish to be doctor, scientist, engineer? Mainly to benefit, not temporal benefit. Ultimate, the lasting benefit. You can give lasting, ultimate happiness to all sentient beings if you become a Buddha. Clear? That means you need to practice bodhicitta because you need to generate bodhicitta. If you are able to practice bodhicitta, then you will be Buddha. If you become a Buddha, you can give, ultimate happiness to all sentient beings. That means taking refuge, renunciation, great compassion, bodhicitta. Now, what's the connection with the wisdom? The wisdom. Wisdom. Do you remember the wisdom? Let's say, now you have the foundation, taking refuge, then renunciation, great compassion, bodhicitta. Still, you're not able to overcome all the problems and suffering. Also, you're not able to become a Buddha. What part is missing here? The wisdom. Now you need to know, look at, wish to be all sentient being free from suffering. How all sentient being can be free from suffering? How you can be free from sickness or disease? Medicine. If you take a medicine one day, can you be free from sickness? No. That's why doctors say take medicine in the morning, afternoon, before breakfast, after sometimes you're really confused, right? We have it's not doctor, what you say, who give the medicine? Pharmacist. When I was young, we usually go to camp number 3. There's only one hospital. Then it's very common, right? The pharmacist one medicine for morning, afternoon, one for evening. Every day he's saying like that. Then I think one day he sleep his friend. He was sleeping. He said one day morning, one day medicine. In the sleeping, he was repeating these words. Right? That means, of course, when you have it depend on the sickness. The sickness is not so serious that you need to take the medicine for short time. If the sickness is very serious, then you have to take the medicine for a long time, every day. Long time and every day. Now our sickness is very serious, right? Our illness is we have all kinds of serious illness and sickness. What are they? Do you remember in Lamrim, in the previous chapters? Remember, we are ill by attachment, anger, ignorance. Now, we have a serious illness. We have a serious attachment illness, serious anger illness. The most serious one, the ignorance. Ignorance. Why we say sickness? For example, when you have a headache, will you be happy? Do you feel happy? No, because headache makes you very unhappy. Right? When you have a headache. For example, when anger arises, do you feel happy? No. Right? Let me look at the sickness and the three poison mind is very similar. Anger arises, become very unhappy. Attachment arises, become very unhappy. Ego arises, become very unhappy. Right? Therefore, all of them look like sickness. Now, you need to reduce attachment. What is the best medicine? What's the best medicine to reduce attachment? Huh? Okay, impermanence also good. Now you remember, as a homework, you remember, in the previous chapter, do you remember there are 10 non-virtuous actions, right? Then motivated by how many mental poison? Complete by which mind? You must remember this thing, right? That means, in order to reduce attachment, impermanence, most importantly, the essenceless. For example, when you have attachment towards something, that means you are looking the things or the person is so attractive, so beautiful, right? Attached. Then your mind attached. Then if you do some analysis about the phenomena, about the person, the finally you can notice there's not such a thing you can attach it, right? Attachment. That means essenceless, impermanence are the best antidotes towards attachment. Compassion is the best antidote for anger. Also patience, right, are the best antidote anger. Now ignorance. What is the best antidote of the ignorance? Huh? Very good. Wisdom realize emptiness. Wisdom has a different level. Right? For example, when you realize impermanence of the phenomena, you have a wisdom. For example, when you realize impermanence of your life, impermanence of your belonging, you realize impermanence of your belonging, you realize impermanence of your life. It can reduce what? When you practice impermanence of your life, it can reduce what negative thoughts? Attachment or the wrong perception. Do you remember there's a 4 wrong perception? 4 wrong perception, misperception. Very good. Yeah. Wrong perception. Number 1, just say, perception of the pure. Then perception of the pleasant. Then perception of the permanent. Then the happiness. The 4 perception, wrong perception, right? 4 wrong perception. Now, when you practice impermanence, it can reduce permanent, impermanent as you have a misperception, impermanent as a permanent. Reduce that. Then, number 1, impure as a pure, impermanent as a permanent, suffering as a pleasant, happiness. Then the final one, selfless as a self. The final one is very difficult to reduce because this is a kind of ignorance. Now, do you remember there's a 6 perfections? 6 perfections. Within the 6 perfections, which perfection is most important? Most important? The wisdom perfection. Do you remember the analogy? Within the 6 perfections, the wisdom is look like eyes. Right? The artist complete all parts of drawing, but without complete the eyes, the picture cannot be complete. The picture cannot be see nice picture, nice painting. Let's say the artist want to draw the human painting, human picture. Somehow the artist forget to draw the eyes. You can see the picture is very incomplete. Or the artist forget to draw some other parts, but you cannot see it is very incomplete. Right? Wisdom chapter is look like eyes. When you have eyes, you can see things. If you don't have eyes, then you cannot see things very clearly. The wisdom chapter, very important. Wisdom is very important. Now, in the past, what we learn? We learn few things, right? Number 1, it is so important to recognize, identify what? It is so important to identify the negation, which is negated, that negation. Because we have been talking emptiness many 100 times. We have been saying. Now, at the beginning, in order to overcome ignorance, you need to realize what? Emptiness. Clear? In order to realize emptiness, what you need to recognize? Negation. Object to be negated. Clear? Let's say ignorance can be reduced if you realize emptiness. How you can realize emptiness? You can realize emptiness if you really able to identify the negation. Right? Negation. So here, what does mean negation? Emptiness is the view which is we wish to realize. Clear? Emptiness. So how is come emptiness and ignorance totally contradict things? Ignorance perceives things as a independent or intrinsic. The wisdom which realizes emptiness, they can perceive things are lack of intrinsic existence. So please make sure. Let's say within the 6 perfections, wisdom perfection is so important. What's the wisdom, perfection? The perfection which is realize emptiness. How we can realize emptiness? Why it is so important to realize emptiness? Why it is so important to realize emptiness? Why? Yeah, let's say all negative thoughts, include anger, attachment, all kinds of funny thoughts, which is we have, mainly rooted by ignorance. Ignorance is the root of all negative thoughts, all afflictive emotions, all negative karmas, all sufferings, all of them rooted by ignorance. Keep in your mind, ignorance. Therefore, it is so important to realize emptiness. Otherwise, you cannot cut the root of the samsara. Because it's also, we just recite, right? So important to realize emptiness because ignorance is the root of the sufferings, root of the problems. Then question number 2, how we can realize emptiness? How? Based on identify the negation, right? Negation. Clear? So, for example, in order to realize impermanence, right? In order to realize impermanence, you need to negate, negation. What is the negation of the impermanence? Permanent. Clear? Permanent. For example, this book is the book permanent or impermanent? Impermanent. In order to realize this book is impermanent, we need to negate the permanent book. That means you must realize this book is not permanent, it is impermanent. Now we go more deeper, So in order to realize emptiness of this book, clear? In order to realize emptiness of this book, what you need to negate? No. The previous one, impermanence. The negation must be permanent of the book. You should not say permanent. Impermanence of the book and permanent book. Is permanent book exist? No. Because if the book is permanent, then there cannot be impermanent books. That means permanent book, impermanent book is totally contradiction. That means in order to realize impermanent book, you need to negate the permanent book. The permanent book become the negation of the impermanence of the book. Clear? Number 1. Number 2, emptiness of the book. Emptiness of the book. Right? So what is the negation of the emptiness of this book? Intrinsic existent book. Independent book. Those are the negation of the emptiness of the book. Clear? Clear? Right there. Okay. Now, without negation, without negate the no permanent. But now we are talking about emptiness. Without negate the, what's the negation of the emptiness of this book? Intrinsic book, ultimate book, independent books. Those are the negation. So you need to negate the ultimate book, intrinsic book, in order to realize emptiness this book. Therefore, so before you meditate on emptiness, before you try to realize emptiness, first you need to recognize, first you need to identify the negation of the emptiness. If you fail to identify, clear? If you fail to identify the negation of the emptiness, then do you remember what kind of problem will you have? You fall into extreme, right? First, in order to realize impermanence of the book, you need to identify the negation of the impermanence of the book. What is the negation of the impermanent book? Permanent book. Clear? Permanent book is the negation of impermanent books. Now number 2, what is the negation of the emptiness of the book? Intrinsic nature of the book, then independent book, those are the negation of the impermanence of the book. Clear? Now, do you remember? There's so many phenomena we cannot count. It's totally beyond our content. It's totally beyond our concept. But simply, do you remember? There's all phenomena you can put into 2 categories. Right? All phenomena you put into 2 categories. What are they? Huh? No. Do you remember? It's a ego based on Lamrim, huh? I think now everybody shouting arrow in the darkness, huh? Lamrim asked question. There are so many phenomena, but simply you can put all phenomena into 2 categories. Phenomena and self and phenomena. Right? That means look at self and phenomena. That means let's say being and non-being. Right? That means like except the being, otherwise all phenomena you can put into phenomena. Rest of the thing we can put into being. That means 2 types of emptiness. Emptiness of the phenomena, emptiness of the self. Right? 2 types of emptiness because of the 2 types of phenomena. Right? Clear? 2 phenomena. Therefore, you must think, in order to realize emptiness, I need to identify the negation, which is intrinsic nature of the book. Independent books are the negation of the emptiness of the book. If I am not able to identify the negation, that means you should think I fall into 2 extremes. What are they? Nihilism and absolutism or permanentism, right? That means then, because if you're not able to identify the negation, then when you try to negate, when you try to negate the negation, then if you don't know how to identify, then you negate the object. For example, Is this book existent or non-existent? Existent. But the book is here, but the independent book is not here. Right? That's when you try to realize emptiness of the book, if you don't know how to identify the negation, then when you try to negate the negation, you negate the what? You negate the book. Then you fall into nihilism. Clear? We are not going to negate the books. Right? Then, yes, then you think, yeah, I don't think it's a good idea to say the book is not there. Then you still try to poison, right? P-O-S-I-T, poison. When you try to posit, then you are positing the negation. Because you don't know how to identify the negation. That means when you negate the object, then sometimes you negate the book. When you try to posit the book, then you posit the negation. That means you always fall into two extremes. Right? Therefore, it is so important very important to identify the object of negation. Then we study about, little bit, there's a lot of argument. Right? Argument and, debate between, generally, during the Lama Tsongkhapa and before him. There are so many masters who, really don't know how to recognize, how to identify the object. There's a lot of argument. Then there's an argument between the Madhyamaka school and the rest of the school. Clear? Do you remember? Okay. Why not we can have a short break? Then we go through the meditation, step by step. Okay, yeah. So before we go through the meditation, I hope you remember there's a very important debate between the Madhyamaka and the rest of the school. When we say rest of the school, also we include into, we must include into this one of the school. Rest of the school include Chitta Mantra. They assert, they believe everything exists inherently because it functions. Right? All phenomena has their own functioning. For example, the fire cook food. Right? When you make a fire, you can burn woods. When you use water, it make wet. That means everything has their own functioning. For example, there's a cause, therefore there's a effect. Effect arises through causes and condition. Therefore, the rest of the school said everything exists intrinsically because they produce the effect. For example, mother exists inherently because mother can give a birth. This is the reason. The Madhyamaka school said in the opposite way. Nothing exists inherently because the cause can produce effect. Same reason. Right? Madhyamaka Sukha said nothing exists inherently because everything dependent arises. Other Sukha say everything exists independently, inherently because everything arises independently. This is the very important and very interesting, debate between those schools. Now, we seriously need to think how things exist. Right? Things mean like house, people, house, everything exists or not. What do you think? Things are exist or non-exist? Exist. Exist. Now do you remember there's a four, differentiate. Everything exists but not inherently exists. You must differentiate between existent and inherently existent. That means things are exist but not inherently. Right? That means when you try to understand emptiness of the any phenomena, emptiness of the self, emptiness of the phenomena, you should think, I exist. But the inherent I is no exist. Right? Is no exist. Then existent and non-existent is different. Inherent existence and non-inherent existence are different. You must differentiate in verbally, also you must differentiate in mentally. Now let's remember the cup, or I think everybody has a book. Yeah, everybody has a book or pen and pencil. Just you remember a particular object, whichever you want to visualize. You just remember a phenomena in front of you. Right? Let's say we commonly, remember a cup. The cup is there. Everybody going to agree. The cup is there. Just everybody just remember a cup in your mind. Is the cup is exist? Please answer. Yes, the cup is exist. How, which way, how the cup is exist? How does the cup exist? Independently or dependently? Dependently. Dependently, huh? You not just enough to say verbally, you just think the cup is there. It is not there as a independent existence. It is there because of the dependent existence, dependently. Right? Dependently, right? Okay, now everybody just, think or believe the cup is there, but not there as a independently. Okay, the next, if the cup is exists dependently, dependent on what? Dependent on, do you remember there's a 4 level of dependent arising? 4 types of, right? Dependent on causes and condition, dependent on parts and whole, dependent on parts, I better say parts, dependent on name and thoughts. Okay. Now please meditate the cup dependent on causes and condition. The cup is there. It is not there as a independent existence. It is dependent on something. Step number 1, dependent on causes and condition. But the causes and condition of the cup is changing momentarily. Momentarily, it's changing so fast. Therefore, the cup also changing momentarily. Meditate on impermanence of the cup because of the causes and condition of the cup is impermanence. Okay. When your mind, when you are very familiar with the dependent, all condition phenomena, dependent on causes condition, for you, all condition phenomena look like big. You are looking at the big rivers. It's moving so fast. It's passing so fast. That means, please remember impermanence. Okay, next, let's say, the cup is there, but not there as a independent phenomena. It is there dependently, dependent on causes condition. Likewise, now you must remember you, I, and you yourself. Your exists because you can see, you can feel, you can understand. That means you are there. I is there. But I is not there as an independent phenomena. I exists dependently, dependent on causes and condition. The causes condition go previous, then second eyes arise. The causes condition of the eyes are impermanent, therefore I also impermanent. Is changing momentarily. Is changing moment by moment. impermanence. The second, the first meaning, dependent arising, is dependent on causes condition. The second meaning of dependent arising is dependent on paths. The first one, it depend causes condition, what you call is non-simultaneous dependent arising. Now, not only depend on causes condition, the cup also depend on many paths. The paths always simultaneously exist with the cup. Just visualize the cup and remember all parts of the cup, the upper part, lower part, the side, inside. Within the cup there are so many particles. Without the upper part, cup, there cannot be a cup. Without lower part of the cup, there cannot be a cup. Without all the particles, there cannot be a cup. The cup is depend on many parts. Okay, now I hope you have a little understanding how the cup depend on its own parts. Likewise, you just try to remember you, yourself, I. So I is depend on its own causes and condition. Without its own causes and condition, the I cannot be there. Not only that, the I, self, is depend on parts. Mainly the five aggregates. I, self, person, the being depend on five aggregates. How the I depending on form. How? Because when your body become fat, then we say, I am become fat, I am fat. When your body become weak, when your body becomes slim, then you say, I become weak, I become slim, I am slim. That means you are also depend on very much depend on the physical body. Somebody sees your part of your body, then you can, the person can say, oh, I saw the person. But the body is not you are not the body. But still you are very much depending on the body. Without body, you cannot be exist. Then how you are dependent on feeling? Because when you have pleasant feeling, you can say, I am happy. When you have an unpleasant feeling, then you can say, I am not happy at all. also you are very much depend on the feeling. The feeling is not you, you are not the feeling. Because feeling is consciousness or mind, you are not a mind. Then likewise, you are dependent on discrimination. Depend on rest of the aggregates. But you are depend on the 5 aggregates simultaneously. Now, I hope you have a good understanding how I, being, self, depending on causes condition. Not only depending on causes, it's also depending on its own paths, like depend on form, feeling, discrimination, noisity formation, consciousness. But you are not any of the 5 aggregates. You are 5 aggregates. Any of your 5 aggregates, not you, but you depend on them. Only merely depend on them. Without them, we cannot say the being, the person. Is it meaning of dependent on paths, dependent on basis? The third, the meaning of dependent arising is dependent on name and thoughts. So based on the 5 aggregates, based on the path of the cup, then we just mainly designate it as a cup. Dependent on name and thoughts. Okay, now I think you have a good understanding of dependent on causes condition, dependent on path, thoughts, name and thoughts. Here, now you must realize, when you fully understood you self-depend on causes condition, that means all the causes condition have changing momentarily, therefore you, I, self also changing momentarily. Second, when you fully understood, you are depend on many paths. Without any paths, you cannot be exist. That means I exist mainly only dependent on something. Something like depending on many paths. Not only dependent on paths, also depending on name and thoughts. For example, the cup is there. If somebody, totally break the cup, all parts are there. But there's no more thoughts. There's no more name to say this is a cup. There's no more thoughts to perceive the broken all parts is as a cup. Therefore, in order to exist, the cup is dependent on causes condition, dependent on many parts, not only depending on causes condition, not only dependent on many parts, also very much depending on name and thoughts. Therefore, when you fully understood, you, I, or self depending on causes condition, depending on past, depending on name and thoughts, the conclusion here, I never ever exists as a independent phenomena, never ever exists as a inherent phenomena, ultimate phenomena. That means I, the cup, all phenomena completely lack of intrinsic existence, lack of independent entity. This is what we call emptiness, empty of something, empty of dependent phenomena, empty of inherent phenomena, empty of intrinsic nature. Likewise, when we do meditation on essenceless, for example, when we have attachment, desire, thoughts, something or someone, that time our mind is strongly clinging on the person or clinging on the phenomena. Let's say everybody have a strong attachment towards a beautiful form. Beautiful form. Yes, everybody agree the form is so beautiful, the form is so nice, so good. Now we do some analytical meditation. We do some analysis about the beautiful form. We are not denying the beautiful form. We must accept the form is beautiful, but we forgot the beauty and ugly is merely your perception. Merely your perception, not from the object side. For example, the form is very beautiful for us, but the form is very ugly for someone. We agree the form is beautiful, but they totally disagree the form is beautiful. That means beauty and ugly is just your perception, not exist from the object side. If the beautiness and ugliness is from the object side, it exists from its own side, then everybody can see the object is always beautiful or the object is always ugly. But there's not such a form always be ugly, always be beautiful. Then the concept of beauty and ugly is always has changed when your perception has changed. That means when you see something is very beautiful, you should not too attach on it. You must realize it depends on my perception, it depends on me and my thoughts. Essenceless. okay, essenceless. The essenceless is the best antidote to reduce attachment. Okay, so today the meditation we learn little bit how things are dependent on causes condition, how things are changing momentarily, because the thing which depend on causes condition is always has changed. Therefore, the things are changing momentarily, right? For example, when you sit on the aeroplane, when you sit on the car, when the car always move, then you always move, right? The causes condition which we are always depend, the causes condition always change. That means you have to be changed. You cannot be remain forever, because the condition is changing momentarily. Not only that, also you, I, self is not only depend on causes condition, it also depend on many parts. Many parts. Without all parts, you cannot be exist. Depend on parts. Then that last one depend on name and thoughts. Merely all phenomena exist because of the thoughts and name. Right? So when you meditate on this thing together, depend three together, then for you going to realize quite easy to realize emptiness, because dependent on cause condition, that means things are impermanence. Dependent on past, that means that things not really exist inherently, depend on something. Finally, everything depends on name and thoughts, name and concept. That means nothing exists independently, nothing exists as us, inherently. That means all phenomena, the nature is lack of intrinsic existence. That means, that means you feel so scared about something. For example, you are walking, through the kind of street. Then there's no light, no electricity, no light. There's quite dark. Then something you can see something is moving in the darkness area. Suddenly you thought, wow, there's a ghost. I think Singaporean likes to talk ghost, always ghost. Hunting place, hunter place. So one day we were passing through the Arun Rafal place. I think somebody pointing, this is the hunting place. Right? Hunter, right? Hunted place. I said, ask them to offer DBC. We can use the center. Look at, then when you see something moving in the darkness place, suddenly you thought what? You thought ghost. You thought ghost. Then you do close study. You go more closely. Then you notice is the plastic bag is moving by wind. Then suddenly you feel what? Very relief. That means when you see something is so attractive, so beautiful, then you need to do close analysis. When the more you do close analysis, then the more you go close to the truth. At the end, you notice nothing exists inherently. That means since the ignorance become very weak, then the ignorance become very weak, the thought which is produced from ignorance also become very weak. For example, anger, attachment, desire, all become very weak. Anger become weak mean compassion become stronger. Attachment become weak, that means the thought which realize the truth become more stronger. Right? Stronger. That means slowly you start to, become, all your positive thoughts become more stronger. The more you have your positive mind become more stronger, mean you can have a more happiness. You have a less sufferings. There's a link, right? There's a link, there's a connective. Okay, so today we can stop here. Yes, please. Because I don't want to have a long kind of class because it's just too much, right? You don't understand also. Okay. Question answer, please.
Geshe-la,
Yes.
there's this question pertaining to just now when you say five aggregates and deposit a person. In the past, did I ever ask, and you mentioned that in the formless realm, the beings rely on four aggregates, but they have a subtle form body. Is that a misunderstanding that I've listened?
Okay. Very, very good question. Based on the Sutrayana teaching, okay, Sutrayana teaching, the common teaching which is taught by Buddha towards the common people. Based on the common teaching or Sutrayana teaching, some sentient beings has a 5 aggregates. Do you remember 3 realms? What are they? What are they? Desire, form, formless. We name formless. So we are included into desire realms. Why they name us desire realms? Why Buddha name us desire realms? We are very much desire on the five object. 5 object. We have a 5 senses. That's why we have a strong desire towards 5 object. What are they? Form, because forms, sound, smell, taste, texture, and tactility. Look at, for 24 hours, 24 hours, we always try to have this kind of thing. Beautiful form, beautiful environment, beautiful weather, those are included into form. Right? Weather becomes so hot, we are not happy. Right? Then we always try to listen, try to receive, the pleasant news, good news, pleasant music. When you hear very unpleasant music, you are not happy. Right? That means we got desire realms. Then desire, second one, form. Because form realms. Why we Buddha name as a form realms, particularly desire realms? Because form realm means they have a form. The form is not as our form. Our form is very ugliness, very ugly. They have a beautiful form. Therefore we call celestial being. Right? Their form is not really made of bone and flesh. Why we have a lot of sickness and disease? Why we aging and death? Aging, yeah, death. All sentient being has a death, but we have a sickness, a disease. Our body is made of flesh and bone and so many things. Right? Then also particularly aging, because it's changing very fast because it depends on a lot of bones and mass of flesh. The form realm has a celestial body. Therefore form. The last one, formless. Formless. They don't have form which we have. They don't have the form which is the celestial being has. They have only 4 aggregates according to the Sutraya teaching, according to the common teaching. Clear? But according to the Vajrayana teaching, according to the Tantrayana teaching, they have 5 aggregates. They have a form, but they don't have the gross form, they have a very subtle form, subtle body, which is we call subtle energy, subtle wind. That's why, according to Sudarayana teaching, we believe in the formless being. According to Vajrayana teaching, gross formless body, sentient being, gross formless, but not formless. They always has a form. Yes, that means this is not a misunderstanding. It's kind of depend on the according to which teaching you are talking about. Okay, formless mean according to Sudarayana, there's a concept of formless. According to Vajrayana, they don't have a really formless being. Yes, any question? Very good. I'm very happy. Everybody fully understood.
Why Buddha want to categorize three different teachings? Why does Buddha want to categorize three different teachings like Sutrayana, Tantrayana, and Mahayana?
Yes. For example, you are in the university, you are in the school. You are in school, you are teacher, okay? Let's say you are teacher, you teach in school. So you teach the class 10 grade. Grade, right? 10 grade students. You are teacher of the 10 grade. So when you walk in the school, you met kindergarten children. So will you teach them for as a 10 grade? Cannot. Because look like Buddha is so compassionate. Also, he has a very good ability or talent to communicate with the sentient beings. Because Buddha give different teachings because different people has a different mentality. Different people has a different desire. That means, therefore, Buddha is exactly as a doctor. You say, I'm a doctor, I can give you any medicine, right? You cannot. You need to know what kind of problem they have. Then they give the different medicine according to different sickness. That's why Buddha give different teaching. But the different teaching doesn't mean there's not connecting each other. All teaching has a link. Sudrayana, then Mahayana, then Sudra Mahayana, Vajrayana. There's a link. That means when you are when you are very young, you have to be in the kindergarten. You cannot go into the primary school. When you are in primary school, you cannot go to pre-college. You have to go through step by step. There's a link. There's therefore different teaching because different mentality, different capacity. Now look at when I say different capacity, very important. For example, when we attend teaching, most time, when we attend teaching, sometimes we are very happy, sometimes we feel very disappointment, right? Because the teacher who give a teaching, the teacher doesn't have this kind of ability to give a teaching. But he gives just, general teaching for everybody. There was someone is very happy, someone not so happy. So when Buddha gave a teaching, everybody very happy because Buddha gave teaching according to the capacity. Even though there are 20 people has a different capacity. But Buddha can give one teaching for everybody, but there has a different understanding. This is the uniqueness of the. For example, as a monk, so Dalai Lama is very important for me. So when you attend Dalai Lama teaching, everybody is very happy. Because after teaching, we discuss. We have a discuss about teaching. Different people has a different explanation. Different people has a different experience. This is the uniqueness of the Buddha. Yes, therefore different people have different mentality, different teaching. Any question? Yes?
So actually, if you are saying that, like those Theravada, and there are some students, devotees, they are very smart,
I think it is very much depend on the person. For example, if you just stay in one kind of environment, yes, you have a capacity, but you don't have opportunity to receive this kind of instruction. For example, we Tibetan in the past, all Tibetans live in Tibet. They don't have the opportunity to study modern science. When they come out from Tibet and living in India, living all over the world, then they have a more opportunity to listen, to study. So Theravada, like practitioner, who only stay in this country, and their mind is very close, then they really lost, the good opportunity to learn more, learn better. It depends on where they live. Also depend on, they have a opportunity or not. Yeah, even though, some of the Theravada practitioner, if they only stay in Theravada country, they don't have opportunity. When they go other country, this day we have many Theravada monks. They come to India, they come to Dharamsala, they attend the Dalai Lama teaching, they attend in different monastery course. Then they feel it's really good opportunity. Yes, you are right. If you remain only one environment, the capacity become very useless. Yes. Any question? Yes, please.
There are two contradictions that I kind of don't understand. So maybe catching on this one. But then earlier you said we shouldn't attend teachings here and there. But it sounds as though we should attend to open our minds
Hmm.
to ideas so that so should we attend different teachings or should we just stay in one track?
No, you're right. You can see it look like contradiction. In order to open, in order to use your ability, you think is attend teaching here and there. If you attend all teaching everywhere, then it can be, you can have a benefit or you cannot have any benefit. Therefore, before you attend teaching, you must know what kind of teaching he or she going to give. What kind of teaching he or she going to give. Then also you must think, yes, the person going to give very famous, very important teaching. Yes, the teaching topic is very important. But second, you must check you have the ability or not to digest the meaning. Digest the meaning. That's why if you just without any analysis, without study, you just attend all teaching, I don't think you really can have a benefit. So far, how do you feel? Do you feel too good? Attend all kinds of teaching everywhere?
Some days very confused.
Yes, some days confused, some days useful. If you compare confusion and benefit, which is you have more? Huh? I think everybody has the same experience, right? Same experience. Yes. This, is very serious question. Also, is very important. Serious question. Also, serious matter. For example, this time we have a teaching from His Eminence Kundini Rinpoche. Before we request the teaching, I think the escort discuss what kind of teaching we must request to him. If we say, come and give a, initiation, empowerment, but it cannot be much benefit for others. That's why we say, I think they discuss, why not we request him to give a teaching about two truths. Very relevant, very simple, very important. Right? Otherwise, somebody organize, give very important teaching and everybody attend. At the end, there's nothing, any benefit, no good. So, any organization, before they make a request to the Rinpoche or the Lama, we just discuss what kind of teaching we must request. What kind of teaching is very more relevant for the people who are going to attend. That's why it's quite important. What kind of teaching we should request, what kind of teaching we must attend, what kind of teaching we should not attend. Because many people complain, oh, I went to teaching, I don't understand anything. Then I say, why did you go there? They say, oh, my friend asked me to go, I just go. Right, okay. So we can do the dedication prayers. Next, okay, oh, sorry, I forgot to give you the homework. It's actually I'm supposed to start today, but we cannot. Page number 155. Chapter 12, right? 12 chapter. Right? Can you read the rational analysis? It has how many parts? 4. What are they? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, please, yeah, read, like 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. 4 pages, rational analysis. That means only the first one. You cannot eradicate conventional phenomena by refuting them through the investigation whether they are capable of the withstanding rational analysis or not. This just read about that. It's very important. If you know this point is also, you can be free, very important, kind of, you can be free certain confusion. So please read the 4 or 5. 1, 2, only 4 pages.